Welcome to my YouTube channel. Okay, subscribe and share the links for the videos with your friends as you prepare for the exam. Okay, so continue the study of the preparation for the exam, starting on the perfect competition. Okay, so the first question that we have here is saying, explain the features of perfectly competitive market and how is the price of a commodity is determined under it. So probably what we've been given here, you just have to understand the feature the features of that fall under the perfect competitive market. So how do you understand all these things, or how can you prepare yourself to go in the exam with all these things that you're supposed to understand? First, you have for you to know the features of any market structure or any firm, you have to understand the number of the firms that are under that firm or that market structure, the nature of the products that they produce, if they have control over the market price or they do not have. The demand curve can also be a feature for any market structure that you're trying to determine how easy it is to enter or exit in the firm, if there is too much competition or there isn't competition. If the market has market information, well, it means that probably customers or producers both have full information. Okay, I think there's also efficiency. We can also include efficiency and how price and quantity is determined, as this question asked. Price of a commodity is determined under it. Okay, so starting with the features, we know that under a perfect competition, there are a lot, or there is, there are many firms, small firms. There are usually small firms that cannot influence the market price. These are market price takers. They are price takers. Okay, they produce identical goods. It doesn't mean that they're producing the same goods, but they produce identical goods with other firms. They have no price control over the market price. They are too small to influence the market on their own. So one firm cannot just come from nowhere and say, okay, I want to start producing something at this much, because no one is going to buy if they do that. Okay, the demand curve is horizontal because of the forces of the demand curve and the supply curve from the market. So the demand curve is going to be horizontal because of easy entry and exit in the market. Okay, there's easy entry and easy exit. Like I'm just from saying, there's too much competition. You know, where there are a lot of things, there are a lot of people, there'll always be competition. Everyone is doing the same thing. So how do you, like, there are a lot of people doing the same thing, so there will be competition. There will be too much competition compared to these other firms. Okay, so the information that I talked about, and probably efficiency, you find that these guys produce at a point where price is equals to marginal cost. So these guys, they produce at a point where they are allocative efficiency. Okay, whereby they produce the quantity that the people want, and they are able to buy that quantity. So that is what we mean. Okay, now, what at how do they determine the price of a commodity? So the price is basically determined on from this same condition that I'm just from stating here. They can only change the quantity at the same market price. They can charge whatever. They can attain the same market price. They can produce whatever quantity they want, but they cannot charge whatever price. So that is how it is determined from at this point where price is equals to marginal cost. Okay, so that is how it is for question 1. Question 2, I think this was a mistake on error, so it's the same thing. Question 3, using graphs, depict the perfect competitive firm making profits and losses in the short run. Further, show the shutdown point for the firm. So depicting where the firm is going to be making profits and losses. If you draw your graph like this, you have marginal product there. Okay, I think let me just go down. Let me go down again. Okay, let me go down like there. Okay, so let us draw where a firm is making profits. So we have marginal product there. We have, I mean, sorry, marginal revenue. We have demand curve because these two are the same, and the price is just the same. We have marginal cost there. Okay, so we have in the short run, that's what they asked us to do. So in the short run, we know that we are going to have average variable costs. And then in the short run, we have to know that there are two types of profits that a firm can make. It's either supernormal profits that can also be called economic profits, which means that average product, I mean um, average average cost or average total cost is below the market price. So this is economic profits, which is supernormal profits. So here a firm is making supernormal profits. So this is how the graph looks like. There's also a point when a firm is making losses, but it is still in the production. So where the AC is above the market price, like that. So here a firm is making losses, but it is still there because it is able to produce, cover up the variable costs. Okay, so this is the first condition that is there. Where a firm is making losses, I'm just from stating, if you are asked to say where a firm is making losses and is supposed to shut down. So what determines if a firm is making losses or profits is the AC. What determines if a firm is making losses and should shut down is the AVC. So if this AVC was to be above the market price, it means that the firm should shut down. What I'm saying is this: we have AVC above the market price, even ATC above the market price. The firm should shut down because it can't cover anything. Okay, so those are the conditions that we have to put in mind, and that is what you have to understand. That is what happens there. Okay. Okay, let me just erase this. Just erase that. Okay, so we've explained why the firm is making losses and that the shutdown point is simply the minimum point of the AVC. So while the AVC was cut in there, we had the AVC somewhere there. Here at the minimum, that's what the shutdown point is. They can ask you to say what is the shutdown price. The shutdown price is the point below this shutdown point. It is called the shutdown point because that is where the firm can start its production. If it produces this below here, it means that this firm is making losses and should shut down because it will just be making losses. So this is shutdown point because the firm cannot produce below it. It can only produce above it. Okay, so that is how these things work. Okay, just to simplify them and try to make them easier. Okay, so question 4 is saying given the following short run cost function. So I've been given this: total function is equals to 1000 plus 10q power 2. What is the firm's shutdown price? So how do you find the shutdown price you've been given? So the shutdown price is remember, the shutdown price is going to be at the minimum of the AVC. So you have to know what the AVC here is. So you first get the average variable cost, which is what? 10, right? 10q squared. So if you get this, you differentiate it, you divide it by q, you're going to find what we were saying. So this is total, sorry, by the way. So the average variable cost is going to be 10 10q. Okay, so for you to find the average variable cost, you have to know what the quantity is first so that you replace there. So what you can do is you're going to equate this equals to 0. So you say 0 is equals to 10q. You divide it by 10, you divide it by 10. Our quantity is going to be what? 0. So you get this 0, you put it there. 10 times 0, it is going to be given, you're going to be given 0. So our average variable cost is equals to 0. So that is the answer for this question. It is there. Okay. If you have any questions on all these things that I'm talking about and everything, comment in the comment section so that we know you're not understanding and why you're understanding. So I'll move together. Okay. Just to continue. Question 5 says, suppose the revenue and total cost of a firm are given by the equations. Total revenue is equals to 660Q and total cost is given by 10 plus 5, just like that. What will be the profit maximizing output and total profit of the firm? So here, what you have to know that you're trying to find the profit maximizing output. What is the profit maximizing output in the perfect competition? Remember, looking at perfect competition. So we follow the condition to say price is equals to marginal cost, yeah? And then for us to find the profit maximizing, profit, we're going to follow profit is equals to total revenue minus total cost. So how do you do this? What is our price? Our price, we don't have our price. We don't have price here, do we? No, we do not have. So what are we going to do? What can we do to get our price? We have total. We have total. We have total revenue. Yeah. Remember that in the perfect competition, price is the same thing as marginal revenue, which is the same thing. So we have total revenue. We can just get total revenue. We differentiate it, and we're going to get marginal revenue there. So we get 60, differentiate it, we're going to get 60 as our price is equals to what is our marginal cost. We differentiate the total cost function by saying 10. This goes 2 times 5 is 10Q. So we're going to have 10Q. We divide 10 there. We divide 10 there. Our quantity is going to be 6. Okay, so we found our question was saying we find profit maximizing output. So we found 6 units is going to be profit maximizing output, which is the same units. So what is our profit? Our profit, we're just going to get 6 as the units, right? So we're going to get total revenue subtracted by the total function. So we have total function here, we have total revenue there. We're going to put them there. While there's Q, we will put 6, then you just do our mathematics, and that is our total function. I'm sure it will be 3 something, 170 or so, if I'm not mistaken, just from calculating this on the calculator. Okay, so that is how it is supposed to be done. Okay, I don't know if it is supposed to be 170 or something. Probably you can, since I'm trying to explain here, I won't focus more on calculating that, but I'm sure I've explained on how you can get it, and you should try to get it. Okay, that's your homework. Okay, so moving on to question 6. Question 6 is saying using graphs depict a perfect depict a perfectly competitive firm making profits and losses. So we're just from explaining this on I'm sure that was question, where is it? Okay, this question 6. Okay, question 6 was brought back. Sure. Okay, question 3 was brought back again. Okay, we'll move to question 7 then. When does a firm working under perfect competitive competition decide to A, shut down in the short run, leave the industry in the long run? So if a firm is under the perfect competitive firm, would decide to shut down, it would decide to shut down. Here you can use graphs if you can also just explain. So it would decide to shut down if price is less than the average variable cost. In the short run, it will shut down. In the long run, the firm will leave the industry if the price is less than the average total cost. Since in the short run, we have variable cost and fixed cost. Variable costs are the ones that determine when the firm should shut down. And in the long run, since we do not have variable costs, we only have we do not have fixed costs, we only have variable costs. So just consider them to be total costs. Okay, so these total costs will determine if a firm should leave or continue. So that is how it is. Okay, so that is how you can explain question 7. You can as well use graphs from the graphs we've been explaining. Accordingly, you can try to use the other graphs that I'm just from explaining on question 3. Should be that different question 3. Okay, so on question 8 is saying what is the short run what is the short run supply curve of a perfect competitive firm? So what is the short run supply curve? So the short run of the perfect in the supply curve in the perfect competitive for the short run is simply the portion of the marginal cost above the AVC. So that is the answer for that. What do I mean? So we just do that. We have the MC there. We have our marginal revenue there, which is the same thing as price, demand, and everything. And then yeah, we have our average variable cost here. So the supply curve is simply the area above the AVC, but it's the curve of the MC. So it's the curve, the portion of the MC above the AVC. That's what I mean. So from here to there, it is upward sloping because of the law of diminishing marginal returns. The more you're adding a variable input to the fixed input, you find that marginal returns decrease, then it will start rising. The average cost will start going up. Okay, so the firm, question 9 by the way, the firm aim to all, the first aim of all economic policy is to achieve efficiency. A necessary condition for efficiency is that price is equals to marginal cost, that is under the perfect competition. Okay, the first question says prove that profit maximizing perfect competition, prove that the profit maximizing perfectly competitive firm always meets this necessary condition for efficiency. So okay, this condition is always met in the perfect competition, because remember that all firms produce at a point where price marginal revenue is equals to marginal cost. That is the quantity maximizing bundle, yeah. But remember that price is the same thing as marginal revenue, so you can just equate, instead of saying marginal revenue is equals to marginal cost, you say price is equals to marginal cost. So this is always made because this is the same thing as that. B is saying assuming that for each firm in a competitive industry, SMC is B. Okay, that thing that you've been given, when that, suppose the total, the cost of each firm is given by, we've been given that total cost function. Calculate the profit maximizing output for the firms, when price is 6. Okay, so we'll solve this question in the next video. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and watch the next video for this question and any other questions that are there. Okay.